Most people go through childhood without questioning much. They follow the rules, blend into groups, and grow up shaped by the expectations around them. But for Sigma males, it's different. Their journey isn't one of simple growth. It's one of silent transformation. They don't just become who they are forged by experiences that most never even notice. From a young age, Sigma males walk a different path, one filled with quiet observations, deep introspection, and hidden struggles. They aren't naturally rebellious, yet they resist control. They aren't loners, yet they find solace in solitude. They don't seek approval, yet they are constantly judged. These contradictions don't make them weaker, they make them stronger, more self-reliant, and ultimately more powerful. In this video, we're uncovering 8 hidden struggles Sigma males face in childhood. Challenges that don't just set them apart, but shape them into the enigmatic, independent, and unstoppable individuals they become. Stay with me until the end, because understanding these struggles will reveal why Sigma males are some of the most mentally resilient and unshakable people in the world. Point 1. They grew up as silent observers. Most kids were loud, playful, and carefree. Sigma males, they were different. They weren't the ones demanding attention or jumping into every conversation. Instead, they watched carefully, quietly. Every word, every pause, every flicker of emotion. They noticed it all. A fake smile, obvious, a hesitant tone, suspicious. They saw the truth behind words before anyone else even questioned them. But this wasn't just curiosity, it was survival. Early on, they realized the world wasn't always honest. People said things they didn't mean, friendships weren't always real, and authority figures didn't always have the answers. So they learned to read between the lines. While others moved blindly, they gathered information, analyzed patterns, and predicted outcomes. But this awareness came at a price. Their silence was misunderstood, their distance mistaken for arrogance. They weren't just quiet kids, they were thinkers, strategists, always 10 steps ahead. Point 2. They learned the value of solitude early. Have you ever noticed how some kids always needed to be surrounded by friends, constantly seeking attention and validation? Sigma males were never like that. From an early age, they felt a natural pull toward solitude, not out of loneliness, but out of a deep desire for clarity and self-discovery. While others were busy trying to fit in, Sigma males were busy exploring their own thoughts. Whether it was getting lost in books, diving into creative projects, or simply sitting in silence and thinking deeply about life, they found fulfillment in their own company. They didn't need constant interaction to feel complete, but this self-sufficiency often came at a cost. Society misunderstood their solitude, labeling them as distant or antisocial. Parents worried they weren't socializing enough, teachers assumed they were disengaged, and peers often mistook their quiet nature for arrogance. What people failed to see was that this solitude wasn't a retreat, it was an evolution. Over time, this ability to be alone became their greatest strength. While others depended on external validation, Sigma males built an unshakable inner world. They didn't fear being alone, they thrived in it. Because in solitude, they didn't just escape the world, they understood it. Point 3. They were forced to adapt to change constantly. Life is unpredictable. One moment everything feels familiar, then suddenly everything shifts. Most kids grow up with a sense of stability. Same house, same friends, same routines. But for Sigma males, stability was a rare luxury. They were the ones who had to pack up and move without warning, adjust to new schools, navigate shifting family dynamics, or face life-changing events before they were even ready. While other kids resisted change, Sigma males had no choice but to embrace it. Every sudden shift sharpened their instincts. They learned to read people, understand environments, and adapt without hesitation. They didn't have the comfort of predictability, so they became strategists, always prepared for the unexpected. This mindset followed them into adulthood. While most people fear uncertainty, Sigma males thrive in it. They don't freeze when life throws challenges their way. They observe, adapt, and keep moving forward. Because for them, change was never something to fear. It was their greatest advantage. Point 4, they developed a natural dislike for authority. Because I said so. A phrase that meant nothing to a Sigma male. While most kids accepted rules without question, Sigma males couldn't help but ask, why? It wasn't about being difficult or rebellious. It was about logic. From an early age, they noticed something most didn't. Rules weren't always fair, authority figures weren't always right, and obedience was often expected without reason. When given instructions, they instinctively searched for meaning. If the reasoning was weak or arbitrary, they simply refused to comply. This mindset often put them at odds with parents, teachers, and authority figures who expected blind obedience. But Sigma males weren't trying to create chaos. They were seeking truth. They saw the cracks in the system and questioned why others accepted them so easily. As they grew older, this independent thinking became part of their identity. They didn't follow the well-paved path, they built their own. Success for them wasn't about following rules. It was about understanding, questioning, and carving a way forward on their own terms. Point 5, they were always misunderstood by their peers. Imagine standing in a crowded room surrounded by laughter and conversations, yet feeling completely disconnected. That was the reality for many Sigma males growing up. While other kids easily formed friendships, Sigma boys often found themselves on the outside looking in. It wasn't that they were shy or awkward. They could hold a conversation when needed, but they thought differently. While their peers bonded over trends, gossip, and group activities, Sigma males found these interactions surface level and exhausting. They craved depth, meaningful discussions, intellectual stimulation, and connections that actually mattered. Because of this, they were often labeled as quiet, distant, or even weird. Some assumed they were antisocial, but the truth was more complex. They simply refused to fake connections that didn't feel real. For a long time, this disconnect felt like a curse, until they realized it was actually their greatest strength. Instead of chasing validation, they embraced their independence. While others followed the crowd, Sigma males learned to trust their instincts, think for themselves, and walk their own path, proving that sometimes standing alone is the ultimate power. Point 6, they were overlooked until they proved themselves. Picture a classroom full of eager students raising their hands, seeking praise, and thriving on recognition. Meanwhile, in the back sits the Sigma male, quiet, unnoticed, yet absorbing everything. He wasn't interested in the spotlight. He was focused on mastery. Because he didn't demand attention, people underestimated him. Teachers overlooked his intelligence. Peers dismissed his potential. And even family members doubted him. But what they didn't realize was that he never needed validation. He already knew what he was capable of. And then the moment would come when he finally revealed what he had been working on. Whether it was his knowledge, creativity, or resilience, he stunned everyone who had doubted him. This pattern followed him through life, ignored at first, underestimated, then surpassing every expectation. But over time, he realized something powerful. Success isn't about being noticed, it's about being undeniable. While others chased applause, Sigma males sharpened their skills. And by the time the world finally paid attention, they had already won the game in silence. Point 7. They faced internal battles no one could see on the outside. Sigma males seemed calm, composed, and in control. But inside, it was a battlefield. They wrestled with deep thoughts, questions about life, and emotions they couldn't always express. Society told them to suppress it, to stay strong by staying silent. But instead of breaking under the weight, they transformed it. Their emotions became focus, their struggles became wisdom, and their pain became power. This quiet resilience became their greatest weapon, allowing them to stay unshaken, no matter how chaotic the world around them became. Point 8, They eventually realized they didn't need approval. As kids, Sigma males felt the pressure to fit in, to be like everyone else. But then came a moment of clarity. They didn't need approval. They didn't need to explain themselves. They were free. Once they embraced this truth, everything changed. No more chasing validation. No more following the crowd. They stopped caring about society's expectations and started living on their own terms. This self-acceptance became their greatest strength, giving them confidence, purpose, and an identity that no one could shake. Lastly, the Sigma journey is one of survival, adaptation, and self-discovery. Every challenge shaped them into who they are today, independent, intelligent, and resilient.